It's Tuesday and it's podcast day, and this is when you get a nice long form piece of content from me talking about your business, your PR journey. Now, I remember there was a time when I was working in fashion PR, and the way that we would do strategies and the way that I found the boutique agency that I was in was doing strategies was really just quick and it was on the fly. And then when I joined a corporate setting, gosh, it was so meticulous. It took so long just to get a strategy not only created but approved. And then when you think about having to execute on public relations and comms, any kind of marketing plan for yourself as a creator, entrepreneur, small business, or if you're having to do this and you're quite young, it's like early days, young in your career, I mean, it's early days in your career as a PR, you might feel a bit intimidated by having to put together a strategy. It can also feel a little like it's too deep. Does it require all this time and attention? Surely I can just get on with it. And so I'm going to give you a really happy medium in the middle, because I realized from having worked in multiple settings and industries for 20 years in publicity, press office, public relations, marketing, comms, events, all of it, I realized this is the stuff that there's just a few things, okay? The stuff that you definitely don't want to skip on. And then there's stuff you can skip on, because if you are very much sort of struggling for time, but you still want to make sure that this bit of PR or comms that you're going to do, this campaign is effective, then this stuff you definitely don't want to miss out. So I went from this really casual and easygoing, spontaneous way of working to this very meticulous way. And I think that there are definitely, I guess I would lean more towards the meticulous way now, only because the time and preparation given to a campaign to really think about something and be intentional about it can save you so much pain. Because the pain is getting the objective wrong, not getting the impact you wanted, not getting the result you wanted, or getting a different result and not realizing or understanding how that happened. Or the pain is not having enough data or metrics in order for you to evaluate, for you to satisfy whoever was expecting this thing to go a certain way. Now, there was one point where the campaign was pretty straightforward: get exposure for a designer. And through, I guess, generic planning, I put, yes, media coverage. Did I specify where? No. I think I put something along the lines of just getting placement through stylists. In the end, there was a particular brand that I was working for, and I managed to have conversation after conversation after conversation, just as a human being, with a stylist. And it was on a weekend, and it was in the morning of X Factor. It was Saturday, and I managed to have a really random email and then phone conversation with the stylist, who actually reached out to me. They saw my press release sending images of this designer's pieces. Next thing you know, it was worn by quite a famous singer that evening after X Factor, and then followed the Vogue placement. And so it happened in a really spontaneous way. It happened in an unpredictable way. The result was great, but because I wasn't expecting it and I hadn't been intentional about it, I didn't notice when it happened. It was actually brought to my attention by the client, which is also embarrassing, because I thought, goodness me, now it's going to look like it was just a happy accident, when it wasn't, because I'd actually worked hard on having the conversations with the stylist. I just hadn't written it down, hadn't been intentional about it. So it might be that you actually achieve the things that you want to. You just want to know what it is you're working toward, so that when it happens, you can notice it, find out, and then talk about it before anyone else notices. And then you're kind of caught almost feeling like, okay, nothing to report then. Because ideally, I would have wanted to be the person to share the news through an evaluation report. Say, by the way, I got you coverage, got placement for your product, and it was this person, and to say who it is, Lady Gaga, and then there's now Vogue interest, and I've already delivered the samples to Vogue because I did in person. So it's probably ideal for you to at least write something down. I mean, I had stuff written down, I just hadn't made my plan iterative, in the sense that I hadn't been sort of revisiting the plan. I hadn't thought about going back to the plan and making notes on the implementation. Now this has happened, so then this could happen. Because you can do that with your strategies and your plans. You can make them iterative. You can make them live. They don't have to be these static things. They will change because things do change. You have lots of variables within a PR plan and strategy. And there are lots of variables, and things could change, and there are also dynamics and interrelationships between variables. You just never know what could happen. So you've got to be not only pretty open-minded with what could possibly occur, but you also need to come back to your plan, which should be like a reassurance almost. It shouldn't feel like such hard work. And you come back to your plan and make note of the changes, take note of them, because as you do that, things begin to crystallize yourself. You might spot some opportunities as a result. So always come back to the plan. So you've got this spontaneous way of working, and then you've got this very meticulous way where you have to make everything smart. So it's specific, measurable, actionable. Something is achievable, and then the other is timely. What does R stand for? Let me know in the comments. I can't remember. So you've got to make everything smart. You've got to make your objectives smart. So if you want to, say, for instance, get clicks on a link for an event that you're promoting, what do you want to happen once they've clicked on it? And how soon do you need them to do it? So you have to make it very specific. So with a blog post or with a press release, I am trying to reach out to audience ABC. You can put a reference as to which audience persona you have. This is how specific you could get. And then you can say that you need them to click. So the call to action would be a click and a registration, and that the number of people you're hoping to reach and the number of registrants you're hoping to have. And I think that would be a pretty tidy objective, but you just need to put a timeline on it. So within a month, have this much number. You might have to change those numbers a little bit. It just makes you a lot more methodical. So you can almost look at it as a chain reaction. I put together this list. I put out a press release. I send it. I then have press coverage, or if it's your own blog, your own email that you're sending out to a list. And then you would find some way of finding out. You will identify how you're going to get sort of a view of those clicks. So what client are you using? Is it through your email database? What is it that you're using that you're going to be able to measure the clicks? Is it that registration link? Is that being sort of housed on some client like, I don't know, MailChimp or something along those lines? Or is it your actual sort of event list where people buy tickets? Is that where you have that sort of those metrics? And then you want to keep an eye on it, and you could then create reporting. So in the first week, there were 20 clicks and 5, so that's 25% were bought. So 25% of those clicks resulted in a complete sort of registration or purchase. And then you can say by week 4 we had 100, and then we sort of like sold our capacity. That way, when you are reporting on it, even if it's just for your own benefit, you have clarity. But definitely for reporting for a client, you definitely have, like, just having a sentence to sort of tell the story using the stats can help you so much. So I've gone off on two tangents where I was talked about sort of something simplistic and things happen sort of by a happy accident spontaneously, and then you've got something a lot more sort of planned and calculated, and then how you would report on that. And this is why the long form podcast is perfect for this, because I can get into this kind of detail. So remember, Tuesdays is when I will provide you with this PR talk. Something in between. What can you do if you are struggling for time and you don't want to just sort of take the risk with doing things just in the moment? You want to sort of ensure that you're a bit more, well, a lot more intentional. Then this is what you can do. First things first, just get a piece of paper and write this down. What is your objective? What is the thing that, like, are you trying to sell something? Are you trying to get noticed? So is it exposure? Is it awareness of something? Is it clicks? Is it more subscribers? Is it actual sort of people buying? Is it sales? What is it that you're sort of after? So be very specific about what you want, because you don't want to have this idea of, oh, I just want people to learn about it, and then maybe if they bought it, it'd just be such a bonus, it'd just be great. It's like, oh, you're gonna go to all that effort of creating something, designing something, putting something together, and then you're just hoping that someone's going to learn about it, hoping someone's going to watch, hoping someone's going to support you. No, we want to know exactly, for ourselves, we want to know exactly what it is that we're after, what we need. What is this output going to get? Now, it might be that your objective serves more than one thing. So there's an objective where you definitely need to get some brand and product awareness. So in order for that, okay, this sort of activity over here is going to send a press release to a range of influencers and a range of magazines or publications, and we are hoping for placement out of the 50 that we send to, at least 3, where we will hopefully, well, we intend to get 3 placements, 3 media placements, and as a result, that there you go. You got your awareness, you got your clippings, and you can show that to whoever. That's a really simple, straightforward one. Then you have something where you're trying to, like, okay, we want people to also buy this thing. So not just a nice glossy photo of it, we want them to buy it. And the way that we're going to get them to buy it is actually invite them to the store, and they're going to come to the store for a special something, right? So you can do this, for instance, when you're selling goods, you can invite people for a special viewing. You can do this with influencers, with press, with stylists. And so you can arrange that. I mean, you're going to be open anyway. Your store or your sort of, let's say your showroom is open anyway. So why not just set a date and a time and just have it so that people have to register to come or email you to let you know they're going to attend. So then that's another objective where you're like, okay, we need people to actually come in, meet us, see the stuff. Now, the great thing that you can get out of that is not only the contact, the person who comes, who has an interest, but you get exposure for the brand as well. They might write about it, they might buy it, depending on what the nature of that relationship is. So there's a little bit more quality in that connection, a little bit more quality from that activity, something more that you can get from that face-to-face meeting. And that's a different objective. So it's not just, okay, I put this thing out, and some people talked about it and they tweeted about it or posted about it on X, and then other people came by, and that was really nice, and then we got one sale. So now you just want to be a little bit more specific about the sales thing. So do you have an online store, or is it an in-person thing? If it's an in-person thing, is there an event that you're inviting them for? Is there a special discount, a sale price, a promotion? And then you want to put some things in, like to sell directly from the store with clients whose emails we will capture and then invite to a promotional seasonal newsletter. So we are also list building. Do you see how Just with one idea, you can begin to get a lot more out of that activity, and then you can measure it. So this bit, I will just say, so you've got to be firstly very intentional with the objective, okay? Just write it down, okay? Try and be smart. So be specific. Now you've got to measure it, okay? The measurable bit. This is where you cannot just rely, okay, on a message or an email or a text or a social media post or someone reposted something. Was there some way that they were going to engage with you? And through that platform, through that service, can you measure the activity? If so, that's brilliant. If not, and it's through more qualitative ways where they, it depends on, whether they actually came into the store, then there you go. It's like, how many came into the store? That's your thing. Or how many people emailed you? That's your thing. So just write down how you're going to measure it, rather than just, let's just see what happens, because that can happen a lot when you're solo and you're doing PR. It's like, well, let's just see what happens. No, you can't just see what happens. Yes, of course you have to. There's only so much that you can try and guarantee for yourself or for a client, but at least write down what you're intending. So now it's happened, the results happened. At the very least, you've got to evaluate. And as I said at the start, if you're using some kind of client, email client or database builder, anything, it's going to give you some data. And then you also have your qualitative kind of like notes all, in your head. You want to do a bit of a wash up. You want to sort of write down what you sort of deem is valuable, good to know for next time, and also for this particular campaign. And remember, this campaign may repeat. So then you want to take the insights from the way this campaign happened and the way that it unfolded, and then you want to apply those learnings. It's such corporate jargon, but you want to apply those learnings to the next one. You want to especially do this when you're having to present the report to a client. They might be on retainer, so then they want to justify where they have you on retainer. Like, are we progressing in any way? Because it could be that something didn't happen from that first campaign, and now you've got to learn the lesson and then avoid it from happening again. As in, you don't want to miss the opportunity. If you missed an opportunity in the first sort of month, if you like, of that campaign, and you have to repeat it, then you want to make sure you've captured that learning. You've got to write it down. The thing is, when you're working for a client, and if things don't go perfectly, because there's only so many things you can guarantee, or you miss something from that campaign, you want to at least demonstrate that you have noticed, identified what it is, and now you've already fed this into the campaign objective and planning and implementation for the next round. Like, it shows you're prepared. So if something's gone wrong, you know it, they know it, you haven't even reported on it yet. You're about to kind of do that boardroom or that sort of roundtable meeting, or if it's a Zoom call, just be prepared. Be like, absolutely happy here to present you with the evaluation from this campaign, and the findings have already been captured in next month's forecast, which we'll come to once we've sort of gone through this evaluation. I mean, there's nothing salesy in there. You're not trying to hide or convince them of anything. You're just telling them what you've done. And then for yourself, if you're doing this for yourself, you don't want to get so lost, tunnel vision, such tunnel vision, because we all get it, and I get it as well, that you don't have enough of a zoom out to know, well, what went wrong. This is one way of zooming out. This is one way for you to be able to identify what did I miss. And it can be your sounding board when you don't have a business partner, when you don't have a collaborator or somebody who cares enough about your business. Your strategy, your plan that's down on paper, whether it's fully SMART, S-M-A-R-T, as in specific, measurable, achievable, R, what was R, and then T, timely, And then put your evaluation, reflection in there as well. Whether it's that or not, it's still down on paper. It's a living document. Remember, revisit it. Now, back in the day, I mean, I still have my neurodivergence, but back in the day, I used to really struggle with the structure and the coldness of plans, and just found PowerPoints just, oh my goodness me, just put me in a long nap. Now I want to wake up. I want to be painting something instead, or dancing, or in a yoga class, or just anything, like producing a podcast or doing a podcast, anything but having to look at these grids and tables on a PowerPoint slide. Change it up then. Change it up, and maybe I'll do a video to show how you could change it up and do something different, because sometimes these plans are just so soul destroying, and they're not fun. I think I did a pitch once using Canva slides instead of PowerPoint. I just went to Canva, found some great templates, and I just brought it to life with images that meant something to me, some diagrams that meant something to me. Just wasn't grids and tables and lines, and it's all very linear, and it just didn't feel alive. It didn't feel creative. So if it's just you, then make it mean something. There might be some product images or some business visuals that really help you to focus you on that particular part of the plan, or might even motivate you. Make it work for you. There's those ways that you can utilize to make the PR comms planning work for you. You don't have to do things in the stiff way that we are so often trained to do, or having to do, because that's what the client expects, or that's what the job expects of you. We've gone over the 20-minute mark. This was your Tuesday PR talk. I'll be back again with another PR talk. I was doing my fist like a politician. How awful. I hope I didn't talk like one. But I'll be back again. There are more instructional implementation videos available right here on PR with Serena. I so appreciate your time. I wish you the absolute best in your journey as a creator, entrepreneur, business person, or even a PR. And if you would like to reach out, please feel free to do that. You can do so on my website. I am also available on socials, so find those links as well. But drop a comment at the very least. Let me know which part helped you. When you're listening to this, it might be that it's really resonated with you because a particular sort of part of your work or current workload sort of requires a little bit more help. And if there's anything else that you would like in terms of requests, let me know again in the comments, and I'll see you in the next episode.